The night air was thick with tension as Marcus Johnson stood in the rain, his boss's car keys clutched tightly in his hand. He had just made a decision that could cost him his job, but might have saved Victoria Reynolds' life. What happened the next morning would change everything for this struggling single father of two. If you've ever had to choose between doing what's right and doing what's safe, this story will resonate deep in your soul. Stay with me until the end for a twist that left even me speechless while writing this. If you're enjoying this story, please take a second to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel for more powerful real-life stories that remind us of our shared humanity. Marcus Johnson's alarm blared at 5:30 a.m., as it did every weekday. He silenced it quickly, not wanting to wake 7-year-old Emma or 10-year-old Liam, who were still asleep in the small bedroom they shared down the hall. The apartment was modest, 2 bedrooms in a building that had seen better days, but it was all he could afford on his administrative assistant's salary at Reynolds Architecture. He showered quickly, the lukewarm water a reminder that the building's water heater was on its last legs. As he dressed in his only decent dress shirt and tie, he caught a glimpse of himself in the mirror. At 34, the lines around his eyes had deepened, and flecks of gray had begun to appear in his dark hair. The past 3 years as a single dad had aged him, but he never regretted taking full custody after Sarah left. The kids needed stability, and he was determined to provide it, no matter the cost. In the kitchen, he prepared lunches for the kids, peanut butter and jelly for Emma, turkey and cheese for Liam, and set out cereal bowls for breakfast. By 6:15, he was gently waking them, helping with morning routines, and reminding Liam about his science project due that Friday. "Dad, can we get pizza tonight?" Emma asked, her voice still sleepy as she spooned cereal into her mouth. Marcus calculated the remaining balance in his checking account. The rent was due in a week, and the electric bill had been higher than expected. "Not tonight, sweetie. But maybe this weekend if I get that overtime I asked for." By 7:30, he had dropped both kids at before-school care and was navigating morning traffic toward downtown, where the gleaming glass tower of Reynolds Architecture stood among the city skyline. He'd been working there for just over a year, and while the pay wasn't great, the health insurance was decent, which mattered more with 2 growing children. Victoria Reynolds, the firm's founder and CEO, had inherited the company from her father 5 years ago. At 38, she was known for her brilliant designs, exacting standards, and increasingly unpredictable behavior. The office rumors suggested she was struggling with the pressure of maintaining her father's legacy while establishing her own. Marcus had seen the signs, the late arrivals, the bloodshot eyes, the faint smell of alcohol that sometimes lingered around her in afternoon meetings. As Marcus settled at his desk outside Victoria's office, he noticed her calendar was packed with client meetings, including a crucial presentation to Westbrook Developments that evening. It was a project that could secure the firm's financial stability for years to come. At 9:45, Victoria still hadn't arrived. Marcus fielded calls from increasingly impatient clients, making excuses about being caught in an important design consultation. By 10:30, he was genuinely worried. This wasn't just tardiness, something felt wrong. He tried her cell phone again, and this time, she answered. "Hello?" Her voice was slurred, barely recognizable. "Ms. Reynolds? It's Marcus. Are you okay? You have the Chandler meeting in 15 minutes. Cancel it," she mumbled. "Cancel everything today. But the Westbrook presentation." "I said cancel it," she snapped, then her voice softened. "I can't. I just can't today, Marcus." The call ended abruptly. Marcus sat frozen, staring at his phone. The Westbrook presentation represented months of work and a potential $12 million contract. Canceling wasn't an option. Making a split-second decision, Marcus called Victoria's address up in the company directory. He informed the office manager he needed to retrieve some documents from Ms. Reynolds, then headed to the parking garage. 20 minutes later, he pulled up outside an elegant brownstone in the city's historic district. He'd never been to Victoria's home before and felt distinctly out of place as he approached the front door and rang the bell. No answer. He tried again, then called her phone. He could hear it ringing inside. Concern overriding propriety, he tried the door handle. It was unlocked. "Ms. Reynolds," he called out as he stepped inside. The interior was immaculate, modern furniture, original artwork, and floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking a small garden. But scattered across the coffee table were several empty wine bottles and a half-empty tumbler of amber liquid. He found her in the home office, slumped over her desk, surrounded by blueprints and design sketches. An empty bottle of expensive scotch lay on its side near her hand. "Ms. Reynolds," he said gently, touching her shoulder. "Victoria?" She stirred, lifting her head. Her makeup was smeared, her eyes unfocused. "What are you doing here?" she mumbled. "The Westbrook presentation is tonight. It's too important to miss." She laughed bitterly. "Important? Nothing's important. Not anymore." She reached for the tumbler, but Marcus moved it away. "I think you've had enough," he said firmly. Her eyes flashed with anger. "How dare you? You're my assistant, not my keeper. Get out." "I can't do that," Marcus replied calmly. "You have responsibilities. People counting on you. The entire firm is counting on you." "The firm," she spat. "My father's precious firm. Do you know what today is, Marcus? It's the anniversary of his death. 5 years today." Her voice broke. "And every year, the board compares me to him. Every year, I fall short." Marcus hadn't known. He softened his approach. "I'm sorry about your father. But drinking won't help." "It helps me forget," she whispered. "Only temporarily," he countered. "And then you'll have more to regret." He glanced at his watch. "We have 6 hours until the Westbrook presentation. That's enough time to get you sobered up and prepared." She looked at him with disbelief. "Why do you care? I'm terrible to you. I know what they call me at the office, the Ice Queen. The tyrant." Marcus shrugged. "You're tough but fair. And right now, you need help. So let me help you." What followed was a carefully orchestrated recovery operation. Marcus made strong coffee, prepared a light meal, and ran a shower. He laid out fresh clothes he found in her closet, then reviewed the presentation materials while she cleaned up. He fielded calls from the office, rescheduled the day's meetings, and kept the Westbrook appointment intact. By late afternoon, Victoria was sober but shaky. They went through the presentation together, Marcus offering encouragement and suggestions. He'd never been invited into the creative side of the business before, but he'd always paid attention. His insight surprised her. "You understand architecture," she remarked. "I understand what makes spaces feel like home," he replied. "I took some design courses at community college before life got complicated." As they prepared to leave for the presentation, Victoria paused at the door. "Thank you, Marcus. Not many people would have done this." "It's my job," he said simply. "No," she shook her head. "Your job description doesn't include saving your boss from herself." The Westbrook presentation went flawlessly. Victoria was poised, articulate, and passionate about the design. The clients were visibly impressed, asking thoughtful questions that she answered with confidence. When they shook hands at the end, the deal was all but secured. As they walked to the parking garage afterward, Victoria's steps faltered. The stress and lingering effects of the alcohol had taken their toll. "I don't think I should drive," she admitted. "I'll call you a car service," Marcus offered, reaching for his phone. "Would you?" She hesitated. "Would you mind driving me home? I don't want to be alone right now." The request surprised him. It meant he'd be late picking up the kids from after-school care, which would incur extra fees he couldn't afford. But something in her voice, a vulnerability he'd never heard before, made it impossible to refuse. "Of course," he said, sending a quick text to the care center explaining he'd be late. The drive was mostly silent. Victoria stared out the window at the city lights, lost in thought. When they arrived at her brownstone, she turned to him. "I've made a mess of things, haven't I?" "Nothing that can't be fixed," Marcus assured her. "My father would be disappointed." "I didn't know your father," Marcus said carefully, "but I imagine he'd be proud of how you handled tonight. You were at your lowest point this morning, and you still delivered a perfect presentation. That takes strength." Tears filled her eyes. "Thank you for saying that." She reached for the door handle, then paused. "Would you like to come in for a coffee?" "I promise, no alcohol." Marcus checked the time. It was already 8:30 p.m. "I'm sorry, I need to pick up my kids. They're at after-school care, and I'm already late." "You have children?" Victoria looked genuinely surprised. "Two. Emma is 7, and Liam is 10. I didn't know you were married." "I'm not. Not anymore. It's just me and the kids now." Something shifted in Victoria's expression. "Go," she said. "Get your children. And Marcus, thank you again. For everything." As he drove away, Marcus wondered if he'd still have a job tomorrow. He'd overstepped boundaries, entered his boss's home uninvited, and seen her at her most vulnerable. Many executives would find that unforgivable. By the time he picked up the kids, paying the extra $30 late fee that would mean no new shoes for Emma this month, fed them a hasty dinner of macaroni and cheese, helped with homework, and got them to bed, Marcus was exhausted. He collapsed on the couch, too tired even to worry about his employment status. His phone buzzed with a text message. "Please see me in my office first thing tomorrow. VR." Marcus stared at the ceiling, anxiety gnawing at his stomach. He needed this job. The health insurance alone was worth putting up with Victoria's demanding nature. And what would he tell the kids if he was suddenly unemployed? Sleep came fitfully, and morning arrived too soon. He went through the usual routine mechanically, his mind preoccupied with what awaited him at the office. After dropping the kids off, he drove to work with a sense of impending doom. Victoria's office door was closed when he arrived. Her assistant's desk, his desk, had been cleared of his personal items. A cardboard box sat on the chair, containing his family photos, spare tie, and the emergency granola bars he kept in the drawer for long workdays. So that was it. He was fired. The door opened, and Victoria emerged, impeccably dressed in a tailored suit, her composure fully restored. "Marcus. Come in, please." He followed her into the spacious corner office with its panoramic views of the city. She gestured for him to sit across from her at the sleek glass desk. "I owe you an apology," she began, surprising him. "My behavior yesterday was unprofessional and inexcusable." "You were having a difficult day," he offered. "That's no excuse. I've been having too many difficult days lately." She folded her hands on the desk. "What you did yesterday, coming to my home, helping me prepare, ensuring the presentation went forward, that was extraordinary." Marcus shifted uncomfortably. "I was just doing my job." "No, you weren't. You were doing what a friend would do. And I haven't given you any reason to consider me a friend." She paused. "I've been reviewing your personnel file. You have an associate's degree in architectural design?" He nodded. "I started the program before my daughter was born. I couldn't afford to continue after becoming a single parent." Victoria studied him thoughtfully. "You have an eye for design. Your suggestions yesterday were insightful. Westbrook called this morning, they're awarding us the contract." "That's wonderful news," Marcus said, genuinely pleased despite his uncertainty about his own situation. Yes, it is. And it's largely thanks to you. Victoria stood and walked to the window. I've been thinking about what you said, about my father being proud. The truth is, he built this firm on talent recognition. He believed in giving opportunities to people who showed promise, regardless of their background or education. She turned to face him. I'd like to offer you a new position. Junior Design Associate, working directly with our creative team. The salary is double what you're making now, with flexible hours to accommodate your children's schedules. Marcus stared at her, certain he'd misheard. What? You saved more than my reputation yesterday, Marcus. You reminded me of the kind of leader I want to be. The kind my father was. She smiled, a genuine smile that transformed her face. Consider it a thank you. And an investment in talent I should have recognized sooner. I don't know what to say, Marcus stammered. Say yes. The company will cover tuition if you want to complete your degree. And there's a daycare center in the building for employees' children. Your kids would be welcome there during summer breaks and holidays. The implications washed over him. Double salary. Flexible hours. Education support. Childcare. It would change everything for his family. Why? He asked finally. Why would you do this for me? Victoria's expression softened. Because yesterday, when everyone else in my life would have looked the other way or enabled my self-destruction, you chose to help me. Not for recognition or reward, but because it was the right thing to do. She extended her hand. So, do we have a deal? Marcus took her hand, his voice thick with emotion. Yes. Thank you. No, Victoria said firmly. Thank you. 1 year later, Marcus stood in the center of a construction site, hard hat on, blueprints in hand. The Westbrook project was nearing completion, his first major design contribution as part of the Reynolds team. Emma and Liam watched proudly from a safe distance, wearing miniature hard hats of their own. Victoria approached, surveying the progress. It's coming together beautifully, she said. Your central atrium design is going to be spectacular. I had a good teacher, Marcus replied with a smile. She laughed. I think we both know who taught whom. She glanced at the children. How are they liking the new apartment? After his promotion, Marcus had been able to move his family to a safer neighborhood, into a 3-bedroom apartment with a small yard. It wasn't extravagant, but it was comfortable and secure. They love it. Emma has her own room for the first time. She's covered every inch of wall with drawings. Future architect? Victoria asked. Maybe. Liam's the one who keeps redesigning the furniture layout for maximum efficiency. They shared a laugh, the easy camaraderie of the past year a far cry from their former boss-assistant relationship. The board meeting went well, Victoria said, changing the subject. They approved the expansion. We'll be opening the Seattle office next quarter. Congratulations. Your father would be proud. I think he would, she agreed. I haven't had a drink in 10 months now. I know. I'm proud of you too. Victoria's phone buzzed. That's my reminder. I have that mentorship session at the community college in an hour. After her own recovery, Victoria had started a program for young people struggling with addiction, using her own experience as a teaching tool. It had become as important to her as her architectural work. Go, Marcus encouraged. I'll finish up here. As Victoria walked away, Marcus reflected on how much had changed in a single year. One act of kindness, choosing to help someone in need rather than looking the other way, had transformed not just his life, but Victoria's as well. And through her recovery and renewed purpose, countless others were now being helped.